Flames have had the first scrimmage of preseason on Saturday, and you've had a couple practices since then. Take us through what the last week's looked like for the Flames.
Yeah, I would say from a scrimmage standpoint, the defense played really well. Kept the offense really out of the end zone. I thought offensively, some mistakes as far as some penalties and things hurt some drives, but our defense played really well in the scrimmage. And so, what we've been building towards the last 3-4 days is doing as much situation football as possible. So there's been a lot of third downs, red zone, a lot of different things to let our guys understand some of the situational football. And I thought our offense have answered pretty well these last couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, from a poor performance on Saturday. Part of that was defense did pretty well, but they've answered the last couple of days, which is good to see. I think the competition is stayed where it needs to be as far as guys competing every day. We're practice 11, so there's a little bit of tiredness and frustration probably built up hitting each other. And so this is where this week is important as far as just continuing to, as coaches, push our group. See what they have in them, see what they're made of, see the type of character and integrity they have, continue to put some things on them, and see what we're about as far as the fortitude that we'll show. But we're in a solid spot. We've had some injuries that have been challenging, but our guys have had the attitude as far as coming to work every day has been fun to be around, and a lot of work still to be done. I wish I could tell you we've been able to name a quarterback yet. That's not the case. We did move Ethan Houck to tight end. Ethan Houck has moved to tight end, so now we're down to 4 in that quarterback room. And hopefully by the end of this week we'll have it narrowed down to 2, and that'll give us opportunity to focus on the season with those 2. The 4 that are remaining have done some good things. Still some inconsistencies at the quarterback position, and we just need some more consistency from that position there, and doing just making the play that's there, trying not to do too much, we'll get that solidified this week. I think we're trending in a good direction there.
Have you narrowed it to 2 or 3, like you were saying?
I think in your mind you have, and then the 2 or the 3, then we'll maybe have an inconsistent day, and then you start going question 8. And so just to make sure that the guys that earn it, they've earned it, and so 3 out of the 4 are all brand new in the offense. So you want to give a little bit of time there to see after you've installed everything to see how they perform with all the install and some of those things. So we have an idea as coaches. Now we just gotta narrow it down and say, hey, what does so and so do well, and put them in that situation as if they can do it well. We're trending toward who the top 2 are, and they're sort of separating themselves.
I heard another Power 4 coach this morning talking about his first scrimmage, and he said he tends to walk around. He's walking around like Eeyore, just kind of try not to be too down, but you kind of let some things when like you were saying, maybe the defense is outperforming the offense. Do you try to find yourself staying even keel and not getting too hung up on what you see in one scrimmage?
Yeah, I think if you just look at it as a head coach, you're obviously what's the defense? The defense tackle well? Are they in position not to give up big plays from bust? And then from an offensive standpoint, hey, were you clean? Were you disciplined? Not as many penalties? Some of those. As an offensive coordinator, calling plays. Me and Coach Isaac shared some there Saturday. If you're doing some of that, then you want to score every time, and so when you don't, you get frustrated. But from a head coach perspective, we're going from an offense. We're going to the right people most of the time. Now we just got to execute it out. We're putting ourselves in position to make some plays. We're just not making some of those, and so we're going to the right people. Gives you some confidence. Hey, we'll figure it out. We got some more practice to go. From a defensive side, the way they played, it's great. I hope we can play defense like that all year long. I think our guys are playing hard, and the guys on that side of the ball are doing good. So I always try to take a big picture of it. I think the first one, if offense went up and down the field, we'd probably be going, hey, what's wrong with the defense? And so I think offense, it takes a little while longer just to continue to get your routine, especially when you're rotating quarterbacks and doing the different stuff. But from an overall standpoint, the way our guys competed and the opportunities that they put themselves in to make some plays, I can't complain. Now we got to make them. Got to make some kicks. Got to do some different things that didn't go as well as we'd hoped. But I'm not where we're at currently. I'm not like, oh, we're nervous or upset or like the sky's falling right now. I know we still got some work to get done, but the guys have had a great attitude to work towards that. Once we solidify some offensive things as far as quarterback-wise and let that happen out, I think you'll see us continue to take forward.
Going back to the quarterbacks, overall, are you pleased with where they're at right now? Do you feel confident that they're moving in the right direction?
I wouldn't tell you I'm pleased because I think there's still too much some inconsistencies in our maybe checks or getting us into the right play. We spent a lot of time on that. You got a lot of during this time. You got a lot of walkthroughs, and so I would hope, or I'm hoping, that we were a little farther ahead from there. There's some physical things, and that it's going to take some time. They're seeing a lot of different looks and different things. That'll take a little time. But as far as understanding what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it, I wish we were a little farther ahead at this point than we are with all of them. Not just one specific. And so hopefully we've narrowed down a little bit, some of the things that we're doing so we can put those guys in the best position to go build confidence in themselves, which they have, but so they can see themselves performing and doing the high level. And so the first couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, this week, has probably been the most consistent that group's played. And we put a lot on them in the scrimmage. I did, and we wanted to see, how you respond under the lights, getting out of the huddle, all the different things, 2 minute, all the different things that things happen, and thought our guys could have been better Saturday, but they've shown improvement this couple weeks.
On the decision to move Ethan Hawk to tight end, was that more of you guys felt like you could get something out of him there? Was that his call?
He brought it to us. That's something. He's an athletic guy, and right now he was probably the fifth guy right now as far as just the way it had been going. And I think he wants to compete, wants to be part of helping the team win. He's built that way. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's a long-term move or not. We've met and talked about it. Is this something he wants to do long-term, or does he still want to compete for the quarterback job when maybe there's not as many bodies in there, that are older and a little bit more mature. So, we've had some guys get banged up at tight end as well, and so he's been able to get over there and get some reps and do some things. And so, I think if it's a long-term move, it's something I think he could be pretty good at. Once he, quarterback, you train different than most of the other guys, so he'd have to start, put weight on and all the different things. But it's something that he, after Saturday, or really before Saturday, said, "Hey, I'm thinking about this." And if you're thinking about it, then you're not, really sold out right now for the quarterback position. So we were okay with that.
The scrimmage on Saturday was used, it seems, as one of the stress points to help start differentiating where people are in terms of the playing time order. What are next stress points that you guys have, whether it's specific practices, additional scrimmages, steps and things that you can put in place where you can then use those as a gauge of who's ready to step up and take their spots?
I think today, tomorrow will be some stress points. Today was a lot of situation stuff. You had to handle some third downs and some different things. And then tomorrow will be some similar stuff as far as some red zone and some situational. So there's going to be two stress points leading into Saturday, where Saturday will be another scrimmage. And what we need to see from the stressing is who's handling the different calls, who's handling and being able to get us in the right play at the right time. And if they don't make the play, they don't bury themselves. I think that's the next key. Because when you're competing for a job with a lot of other good quarterbacks, you start to, oh man, if I don't make this play, you start getting your head a little bit. And so I think we've got to see guys let loose and not try to lose the job, but go win it. And I'd love to see guys go win the job and not trying to be a little defensive and, hey, I'm just trying not to lose the job. Does that make sense? And so I'd like to see some guys take that step. So we'll stress them. Today, I think we'll stress on the quarterbacks. Tomorrow will be another one. We'll pull back a little bit Thursday, and Friday won't be as situational heavy, and then Saturday will be another situation.
I know you have history with Jake and Davis. Where does he compare to other freshman quarterbacks that you've coached, and how has he shown himself in fall so far?
I don't want to put any undue pressure on him comparing some other guys there. I would say this about him. He's probably farther ahead than any freshman that we've brought in at any point in my time coaching. From a mindset standpoint, from an attitude standpoint, from a self-belief standpoint. And just from a work ethic, I think these guys will tell you he's always in here studying and doing stuff. So he's got a professional mindset, which is great. His one of his in-laws is Bo Nix, so he's seen the highest level. He comes from obviously a very competitive family. Both his brothers played Division I baseball, and so he was trained to be a quarterback, and so he's got a great head on his shoulders. Football's catching up to him a little bit right now. There's a lot going on, but we're putting a lot on him too to see. He's in the battle right now, and so he's got a great demeanor about himself, and he's going to be, when his time comes, he's going to be a good one.
What impressed you most about the defense? Was it the pressure getting after quarterbacks with the secondary? What were some of the things that stood out in the scrimmage?
I think what they did is they gave up some yardage, some different things, but when it got to the key situation, the third down or whatever it may be, their stop rate overall in the scrimmage from a third down standpoint was close to 70%, and which that's from an offensive standpoint that's awful, but from a defensive standpoint that's really, really good. And so we gave up some things, but they never broke. They did a really nice job, especially down in the red zone area. And so I think the way they ended up tackling, the way they got off the field when they did get off the field was good to see. They didn't let a big play deter them. They went back out there and ended up getting stops a lot of the time. 7 out of 10. And that's from third and short all the way to third and long. If you have there's more than 10, but 70% is really, really good. And so it was good to see that. That's what they're hustling around, they're flying the ball, and I think we're tackling pretty well so far.
You mentioned injuries. Is there anything new in the last few days that you're concerned about, like long term?
Have I told you any?
Yeah, told us that.
Okay, then there's probably nothing new then. Yeah. HIPAA. So I got to follow my HIPAA rules, but we got some guys that are some long term that will hurt us because it knocks into your depth. We've got some nicks and acts right now that hopefully guys they will come back. Just when they'll come back will be the big question, but we got some of those. But we've had a physical camp, and most of some of the injuries that have been serious have basically been almost like in a walkthrough. That's what's been sad about it. It's not like it's been a team setting.
Makai Jackson, someone you've highlighted during camp.
Say it again.
Makai Jackson, someone you highlighted during camp, and Coach Washington spoke highly of him last week also. As a newcomer, where has he impressed you the most since he's been here?
Well, he's obviously played at a high level. He's been able to perform at a high level consistently in his college career, and so he's somebody that's, when they're in the battle, it's not going to be too big for him. The thing that I think he does well is he can win down the field. When there's an opportunity for a 50-50 ball, he's got a great chance of winning those. And so, from an individual standpoint, you're going to get some one-on-ones. He's a guy that there's confidence. He has confidence in himself. Quarterbacks have confidence that he can go up and win it when he needs to win it, And so I'd say something bad about him, but he's sitting behind you right now, so I'll encourage him. And so when he's locked in, when he's motors going, he's a special player, and we're glad we have him. And I think he's brought probably a different dimension to that wide receiver room than we've had in a couple of years, which is good to see. Probably not had since 23. A guy that can, we feel can go down the field, and when they give him the opportunity, he can go win.
What's the biggest difference you see in the defense up to this point from a year ago or 2 years ago?
I just think the attitude they compete with. I think we've gotten better at rushing the passer. We got some guys that can get off the ball. You'll talk to one today who does a great job. I think there's just a mindset. Those guys are hungry over there. They want to go do well. They enjoy practicing. And so they've had a great out. I think the defensive coaches have done a nice job of bringing an intensity and a mindset mentality to that side of the ball. And so I don't know where we'll finish up statistically. We were pretty good statistically last year if you look at it overall. But just the mindset and the mentality that those guys play with, they don't feel like they're ever down on something. They want to get out there and compete and get after somebody. And so it's been fun to watch them. We're still clay. They're still trying to find who can do what and this and that and who needs to be in this position and some of the different calls. But as far as the way they play, the effort to the football, I think we'll be able to make up for some mistakes that we make just because of how hard they're playing, which has been great to see.